So, Ashish, a lot of, in fact, all mutual fund schemes are meant to give a benchmark, right? So that's been happening for a while now, that you have to, as a scheme, say that I'm benchmarking myself against X or Y index. What has your own experience told you? That have you seen in many cases schemes beating the benchmark, or have you seen a situation where it's a 50-50, some schemes beat their benchmarks and some don't? Historically, how has the performance been vis-a-vis an index?
Yeah, so let me answer this in two parts. See, this benchmark business is, I think, is very useful technically, but personally, we've over the years learned to ignore all this. The reason is that a client is not going to be very happy in 2009 to be told that the index fell 60% and you only fell 40%. So I think what is important first is to understand the risk taking does not go away whether you are beating the index or in a situation where you are negative when the index is negative. This works more for institutional clients, but in case of the families that we work with over long periods of time, I don't think this is very important, because their absolute inflation beating returns is more important, because every month you have to pay your bills. That being said, coming back to the point that you made, I think the second important contradiction here is there was no point in having bought an index fund or an actively managed fund in 2007, or a mid-cap index fund or a small-cap index fund as recent as 2016. So what is the second most important thing is, should you be in fixed income or should you be in equities? After these two tests have been validated, that is the time you select an index versus an actively managed fund. And again, I think we are very, very open about this, because we've learned never to follow, these days index funds are in the news because the index has done well.
Correct. I was coming to that, the narrative seems to be that in the last 1 year, if you were in an index fund, you did better than if you were in an active mutual fund scheme. And do you think there we are being a little too short term in view, because it's just a 1 year period and you don't look at equity for a 1 year period?
So we have a great track record with index fund. We started buying index funds in 2005.
Okay.
And believe me, everyone made fun of us. So I think part of being a financial planner or a mutual fund agent, whatever nomenclature we guys are called, is that it's very, very tough to be buying out of flavor and favor products. So I was a laughing stock in 2005. I was a bigger laughing stock in 2008, because we just thought valuations on equity were insane. And coincidentally, this time, sometimes in 16, we started worrying about the markets. Now just imagine, every asset manager is tom-tomming performances about 20%. And we are saying, boss, हमें तो बाजार समझ में नहीं आ रहा, अभी हम इंडेक्स में पैसा लगाते हैं. I was a laughing stock in 16 and 17. All of a sudden, even you've called me for an interview.
Yes.
So it feels good.
I would have called you anyway.
So I think these are cycles. It makes a good single malt conversation, but I don't think it works like that. You have to be clear on your asset allocation. And amongst the many choices that you have, you also have an index fund choice. In fact, now we are finding that it doesn't make sense to buy an index fund, because I think the index is now, if I was to see a 26, 27p, I'm now beginning to get nervous about the index. So it's not a one size fit all for all season, but if you don't know anything, then probably leaving it in an index fund is sensible.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.